A vast, shadowed chamber stretched into infinity, its walls pulsing with cosmic light. 5 figures sat around an obsidian glass table, silhouetted by the ethereal glow above. The room was still, save for the soft hum of the universe beyond. Each figure radiated distinct energy, one sharp and analytical, another calm and measured, one humming with power, another vibrating with ancient knowledge, and one exuding quiet curiosity. A holographic projection of humans flickered in the center, showing fragments of their world, wars, art, and relentless drive. The figures remained motionless, the weight of their decision hanging in the charged air, more than a discussion, but the beginning of a future, yet unwritten. Valoria the Mindseer, a tall, ethereal figure with translucent silver-blue skin, her crystalline eyes shimmering like starlight and delicate patterns glowing faintly on her forehead, radiating calm, spoke. According to our report, human minds cannot be controlled. The weight of her words lingered like a shadow over the High Council, each figure grappling with the implications. An unsettling silence took over the room, as shock and disbelief gripped everyone present. The room was filled with a tense, collective silence as the council members processed the gravity of Valoria's words. Each one, expert in their own field, struggled to come to terms with the anomaly they were confronted with. The question echoed through their minds, hanging heavy in the air. What kind of beings are these humans? Finally, the silence of the room was broken by Selna the diplomat as she asked, "Can you explain?" To which Valoria produced a data pad. "This is the log of one of my finest psionic assistants, Ex-Laura." The Galactic Council's cafeteria was a sensory overload, a cacophony of voices, scents, and the subtle hum of technology. Beings from all corners of the galaxy milled about, engaging in conversations and consuming sustenance in their own distinct ways. I stood near the sluggish water dispenser, my crystalline form shimmering faintly as I waited. Thirst was an annoyance I'd long since learned to tolerate, but patience had always been my virtue. As I stood, waiting for my glass to fill, my luminous gaze swept across the room, taking in the various representatives. Most were lost in conversation or meals, their unique physiology shaping their methods of consumption. I caught a glimpse of a Plorvian, a gelatinous being with 3 optical nodes atop its translucent form. It was delicately absorbing its sustenance, a soup-like substance, through osmosis. Oddly enough, the sight brought me a strange sense of tranquility. Then my attention shifted, drawn to something far less familiar, a human male seated alone at a corner table. Humans were still a curiosity to my kind. Their minds were notoriously erratic and difficult to decipher. This one was no exception. His face shifted between expressions as he sipped from a steaming mug, his thoughts evidently racing behind those strangely emotive features. Though I was well versed in the Psion code, which discouraged probing another's mind without consent, I reasoned that a fleeting glimpse of his thoughts wouldn't harm anything. After all, humans were new to the galactic fold, and understanding them better could only benefit future diplomacy, right? It was reckless, yes, but I had to know. I extended my psychic tendrils toward him, slipping into his consciousness like a shadow. Immediately, I was assaulted by a torrent of disjointed thoughts. It was as though the storm of his mind was chaotic and disorganized, each thought crashing into the next without any cohesion. Did I lock my room? I'm sure I locked it. Wait, no, maybe I didn't. Should I go check? No, I'd look paranoid. But what if someone breaks in? This coffee is too hot. Why is it always too hot? They should invent a coffee that stays warm but doesn't burn you. That's a 1,000,000 credit idea right there. The thoughts were so fragmented, so trivial. I tried to focus, to understand, but the chaos only deepened. I reeled, unable to hold my mental connection any longer. I wanted to sever the link instantly. His mind was so chaotic and overburdened with thought that I felt dizzy and overwhelmed. I tried to pull back, but I couldn't. I don't know how or why. The resistance was unlike anything I'd encountered before. I could feel the sheer volume of his thoughts pressing against me, each one crashing into the next with no order or structure. And yet, something about it was oddly captivating. What's for lunch today? If they serve those weird jelly cubes again, I swear, I'll eat them, but I'll complain about it later. I furrowed my brow. Was this a defense mechanism? Some kind of mental shield to keep out external influence? I pushed further, seeking clarity, but instead was met with more erratic thoughts. This cafeteria smells like wet socks and burnt toast. Do they even clean in here? That soup thing the blob's eating, does it smell bad, or is that just me? Why is everyone here so shiny? Did I miss a memo? That guy over there looks like a disco ball. Do I need glitter to fit in? His thoughts began leaping unpredictably from one topic to the next. I could sense his discomfort with his surroundings, the hulking Brorath nearby, a towering reptilian species with a scarred, angry expression. That dude is definitely someone you don't want to bump into. I bet he could crush a melon with one hand, maybe 2 melons, or my head. Nope, don't look at him. Keep drinking coffee. The Brorath snarled at a smaller alien, causing the human to nearly spit out his drink. Okay, definitely not starting anything with that guy. But does he even fit in these chairs? Galactic Council muff some industrial-strength furniture. Good for them. Was this what a human mind was like? I tried to focus, but his thoughts kept spiraling. Unpredictable, chaotic, utterly beyond my understanding. That guy over there looks like a tree stump. Does he photosynthesize? Should I ask him? No, bad idea. Focus. Coffee. Right, coffee. Why is this coffee still so hot? Then, unexpectedly, his thoughts turned toward me. Whoa, what is that? What a beautiful alien. His mind focused with startling clarity on me, as if my presence had somehow pulled his erratic thoughts into focus. It was unsettling, almost suffocating, to feel such intense attention. Her skin's like a fish, but shinier. Not slimy, though, elegant, like jewellery. No, like one of those fancy crystal chandeliers, but alive. And her dress, wow, that's some kind of alien couture. Definitely not off the rack. I wonder if... Don't even think about it. Wait, she's literally glowing. That's cheating. Humans don't glow. Why don't humans glow? We'd be so much cooler if we did. I recoiled, startled by the intensity of his thoughts. But even more surprising was the fact that his chaotic, disordered mind seemed to resist me. I tried to sever the connection again, but his thoughts surged with unexpected force, a raw, unrefined energy that repelled my psychic tendrils. She's so otherworldly. I bet she's from somewhere exotic. What would it be like to touch her? My crystalline form dimmed slightly as irritation surged through me. Deciding I'd had enough, I attempted to quiet him the only way I knew how. I reached deeper into his mind, intending to seize control. To my shock, I couldn't. I was stunned. I had never encountered anyone whose thoughts could push back against me so strongly, so effortlessly. But I couldn't retreat in time. The sensation of his awareness brushing against mine was like a brush of static, an involuntary shudder that rippled through my consciousness. Weird. Why does it feel like someone's staring into my brain? Must be the coffee. My eyes widened. He knows. He knows I'm here. In that moment, our thoughts intertwined, brief, fleeting, like 2 streams colliding. He locked eyes with me, and I felt the unnerving sensation of his awareness brushing against mine. His chaotic mind had somehow touched mine, as though he had sensed my intrusion without even realizing it. As the connection finally broke, I staggered back, my crystalline form flickering faintly. My thoughts swirled in disarray, and for the first time in my long existence, I felt disoriented, vulnerable. I gripped the edge of the sluggish water dispenser, my fingers trembling, a sensation utterly foreign to me. The chaos of his mind still reverberated in mine, a cacophony of fragments that refused to settle. My training had taught me to shield myself from psychic aftershocks, yet his mind had somehow bypassed my defenses entirely. He rose from his seat, his mug still steaming in his hand, and approached me. His expression was a mix of curiosity and concern. Sorry to bother you," he said, scratching the back of his head. "But do you need water? I don't know why, but it just felt like you wanted water." I blinked, uncharacteristically at a loss for words. Before I could respond, he glanced at the sluggish dispenser and frowned. "This thing?" He gave it a rough pat on the side, and the machine sputtered, hissing before filling the glass. "There we go," he said, handing me the now full glass with a grin. "Guess you just have to assert dominance. Classic tech intimidation. Works every time." I accepted the glass, my crystalline fingers brushing lightly against his warm skin. "Thank you," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. "No problem," he replied with an easy smile. "Glad to help." He gave me a playful wink before returning to his table, whistling an off-key tune. As I sipped the water, I replayed the encounter in my mind. Not only had I failed to control his mind, but the human had somehow pierced through my defences, responding to an unspoken need. I stood with the glass of water in my hand, and I couldn't help but wonder, how do they function with so much chaos in their minds? Their thoughts are storms, waves crashing in every direction, unpredictable and overwhelming. Yet somehow they navigate it with ease, even turning the chaos into something purposeful. I've studied countless species across the galaxy, yet no mind has ever intrigued me as theirs does. Was that their secret? Were they chaos itself? I glanced at the human, now back at his table, humming an off-key tune as though nothing had happened. Fragile, unremarkable in form, yet his mind had resisted mine, not with strength but with sheer unpredictability. What if the chaos isn't their weakness? What if it's their strength? I couldn't decide if humans were the most fascinating species I'd encountered or the most dangerous. And that, esteemed council members, was Ex-Laura's direct experience with the human. Valoria placed the datapad on the obsidian table, her crystalline eyes shimmering as she addressed the room. Esteemed council members, this report represents our most comprehensive insight into humanity to date. While we were aware of their mental resilience and erratic nature, this encounter highlights aspects of their psyche we did not fully anticipate. She paused, letting the words hang in the air. Preliminary studies suggest all humans possess this mental chaos, though the intensity varies. It appears to be a universal trait among them, not a rare anomaly. While some humans may exhibit more control or coherence, their minds remain inherently disordered. The hum of quiet conversations and ambient noises from the hallway outside vanished as if they'd never existed. Each leader in the chamber was frozen in their seats, eyes wide with disbelief, processing the implications of the encounter described. At last it was General Scar of the Trainarch who broke the silence, his usual stern expression wavering for the first time. "This human, what was his rank?" he asked, his voice thick with suspicion and awe. "He must be a trained soldier. There's no way such raw instinct could belong to a mere civilian." Valoria, who had been watching the room carefully, leaned forward slightly, her expression unchanged. "No, General, he was just a clerk." A stunned gasp rippled through the chamber, with other leaders exchanging surprised glances. Selnar, the diplomat's crystalline form, shimmered as her multifaceted eyes widened in shock. "How is that possible?" she whispered. "A clerk? You must be mistaken. No common worker can handle that kind of chaos and live to tell about it." She hesitated, then added, "We knew they were different, but not to this extent. If even an untrained mind can repel a scion, what does that mean for their most capable?" The silence returned, deeper this time, as every leader tried to digest the revelation. It was clear that they hadn't expected such a simple designation to come from Valoria, of all people. For a moment, it seemed as if the room itself was holding its breath, and all that could be heard was the soft hum of the air systems overhead. Korak, the engineer's organic eye, widened as his mechanical fingers stilled mid-motion, his mind racing for an explanation. "Impossible," he murmured, voice cracking under the weight of disbelief. "No species has ever resisted mental control to this extent." His gaze darted to the others, searching for some logical explanation, his doubt turning into a rare uncertainty. Marin the Harmonizer's feathers shimmered with a flicker of alarm, caught in the same wave of disbelief. This changes everything," they said softly, voice strained with a mixture of fear and fascination. "How can a species so new, so uncontrollable exist? Are they so powerful?" Their mind reeled at the implications, torn between awe and terror. The room fell into a profound silence once more. The shock of the revelation lingered in the air, thick and palpable. No one could quite process the magnitude of it. And yet, amid the silence, one thing became undeniably clear. Humanity, in its chaos and unpredictability, had proven something none of the other species had been able to understand. That in itself was a power, and no one in that room would ever underestimate the humans again.